editor, film editor?
I loved movies from the day I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
When we got a television set, I was about 10. And there was a television show called $1 Million Movie. And $1 Million Movie, it showed the best movies made by MGM, which was a major studio, twice a day for a week. So if you'd see a movie like Gone with the Wind, you'd see it as many times as you wanted. And a lot of filmmakers who lived in the New York area started learning how to make movies for $1 Million Movie because they were always really good movies. So, and then I remember when I was about 12 or 13, I went to the movies and I saw a movie with Gary Cooper in it. And he was an old man. And I was seeing all these old movies on TV when they were all young. I had no idea he was a disgusting, yucky old man. So that was $1 Million Movie. But my family, the only thing we all had in common was love of movies. So I went to the movies all the time. I never dreamt that I could work on them. I mean, never dreamt that would be part of my life.
In Hearts of Minds, it was your the first big movie that you worked on?
No, it was the first big movie I made, but the film before that I made was nominated also for an Academy Award for Best Documentary. It just wasn't.
What was the point of that? That moment when you started working in those documentaries?
Well, for one thing, I learned I could work in film. I didn't know people worked in film. I thought they were produced by some incredible factory in Hollywood. I was in New York. I didn't know anything about movie making. So I found out you could do it. Who knew? It was very different then. It was a different world, and people hadn't been turned on to movies in the same way they are now. For instance, if you go into a bookstore and want to read a book about movie making, there'd be 3 on the shelf. That's all. And one would be a biography about a silent screen star. I mean, it was, nobody cared about movies really, and there were 3 film schools in all the United States. It was an obscure world at that time. It started getting more popular in the next 5 years after I started.
In that time, maybe when you were still a teenager or young adult, or when you started to working on these films, did you maybe have one favorite sequence that you saw in one movie that maybe inspired you, or?
Well, I was, it's funny. My favorite movie for a very long time was by Milos Forman. And that was called Taking Off. And I thought it was very funny and charming. I really liked it. And then I got to work with him.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, amazing. And maybe what's your personal favorite of your work when you're looking to your work?
Well, I have a lot of them. I'm very proud of Hearts and Minds, and I feel very close to everybody who worked on it. And certainly Cuckoo's Nest is, I've seen it again recently, and I'm always knocked out. Hair was a movie that I was very close and with the whole crew, and it was a very wonderful experience. However, the movie wasn't as good as it could have been, should have been, would have been. That happens sometimes.
I love the movie, by the way. Hair is amazing. I mean,
it's fun, huh?
It's amazing.
It was so much fun to work on. I can't tell you.
Is there any difference when you're editing music? Like in a lot of sequences in Hair, there are about music.
Well, the music was great.
Yeah.
And I've worked on other musicals where the music is great, and when it's great, you love it.
Yeah. But
it's really fun.
But it's different to edit music and images, like not just conversations or or a documentary?
Right, musicals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any difference or
Yeah, there's a big difference.
with the rhythm or?
Well, in rhythm, and also you have to stay in sync, the sound in the picture, and you know, you have to respect the rhythm of the songs, sure, the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You actually knew the real Anne Catherine.
I did know the real Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
How did you know this?
I read a lot and I saw
Okay, yeah, that was really weird. Well, he was friends with my brothers, both of them.
Yeah.
They were in a little group of crazy guys, one of whom is a film editor today,
Oh, okay.
and a very good one, Mark Goldblatt, and my two brothers, and Andy. And there were about 3 other guys in this group, and I mean, you know, they were 6 and 7, 8, and I looked at my brother and looking, you gotta see Andy do Elvis. You gotta see Andy do Elvis.
Yeah.
And he was great.
I'm sure.
I can't remember how old he was, but yeah, he was a weird kid.
Yeah.
But so was all those boys. Yeah, my brothers too.
How it was to working in a movie about him, about his life, when you already knew?
Well, it was interesting. I knew him. I didn't see him once I went to college, so it wasn't really the same guy in a way as in the movie. I mean, he was a goofy guy.
Yeah.
And I think the film was made after he died, yes.
Yes.
My brother, who was closest to him, my brother Mug, he kept thinking that was one of Andy's jokes and that he would come back.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people thought that.
Yeah.
Because he never smoked and he died of lung cancer.
Yeah,
It was so weird.
And it's also in the movie, I mean, like as a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't, maybe, who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it was a joke. I think he died. No, it was a different thing. Jim Carrey's a wonderful actor in that. And the story was mostly about Andy older
Yeah, sure.
and successful. But he was a goofy guy.
So, I'm talking about I Want to Over Business, Her and Man on the Moon. What was the experience working with Milos in these 3 films?
It's my first fiction film.
Yes.
It was directed by my idol anyway, Milos Forman, whose films I was crazy about. And he was a brilliant director of editing. He loved editing. And he taught me so many things about editing that I didn't know and never thought of and learned, and was in my head the rest of my life. I can always hear him reacting to cuts. So that was an experience of someone who was grateful from morning to night. And it worked. The film worked. We knew it was good. There was never any question. With Hair, I love Milo. She was the same guy, but it wasn't always easy. The film didn't quite work. So there was that sort of, we were in New York, which was fantastic, and I love the music, and I love Milos. It was a great experience, actually. It's just that we never stopped cutting. We got caught up in too much editing. And I think we went past the best version of the movie. I think we had it really great. And then we had, let's do this, let's try that. And on Man on the Moon, I couldn't go to New York because I had kids. So I was editing in California when he was shooting there. But when I went to New York, he had a different editor. I'd go into New York every 3 weeks or so. We'd screen, but I wasn't really. So that was, you know, maybe I did the first cut. I can't really remember. But,
On your
and we had music in that too.
yeah, it's very fun. IMDb page, I think that you wrote something.
The what?
You wrote something about that you...
Oh, I disavowed some movies.
Yes, these movies that Duplex or Down in the Valley or The Lake House, that you didn't make those versions that are what, in
Right.
TV?
No, they're in the movie theaters. They're
Oh,
on
yeah.
the tape. They're on the DVD.
Oh.
It was not released.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, and how...
How can that happen?
Yes.
On Down in the Valley, it starred Edward Norton.
Yeah, amazing film. I really like it.
It was better before he got his hands on it.
Oh.
He decided that he was going to edit.
Edward Norton?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And there's 2 editors credit. And one is his editing name. And he showed me the film after a year, and I looked at it, and the question was whether I was going to take my name off or not. And it wasn't that bad. So, okay. But then he took it and worked on it another year. And in fact, I got a call from Miller saying, get your name off that movie. But I couldn't find the producers. They disappeared. Okay.
But did you like the movie?
No.
No, okay.
No, I didn't like what he ruined it. He's a wonderful, wonderful actor.
Yes.
And he took out moments of other actors that, why do that? Why diminish the movie?
Yeah.
I don't know, I never saw the one after a year, I never saw that.
Okay.
And I don't want to.
Okay.
Every experience like that was pretty painful.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. The Lake House, the director had been fired a year before I came on the film. I was like the 4th editor. And I had it working, I thought, pretty good. And the studio decided they couldn't live with firing the director, even though he was a monster and didn't. I mean, they had fired him once. So a year and a half later, they got him back, and I was on it. And he recut the film at the studio. It was like, I'm going to make this film as bad as I can. And he did.
Yeah, I don't like it.
No, it's terrible. Yeah. And I got shy about getting my name on it.
Hearts and Minds was produced by your husband, Richard Pierce. And
No,
so,
it was not. It was produced by a Hollywood legend named Bert Schneider.
oh, really?
Yes, he had made 5 Easy Pieces, Last Picture Show, Easy Rider. You know him?
Okay.
You know him?
I mean, no, personally.
I mean, you know who he is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he produced it. So it got a lot of attention, and he had to make it, and they spent it all on shooting it and getting footage. So when it came to editing, we were pretty broke, but yeah, it was, yeah, he
But your husband, Richard, was...
shot it.
Yeah, okay.
And was associate producer.
Yeah, associate producer.
So he was very involved in discussions about the film. And he shot a lot of it.
That was the moment when you meet him?
I met him then, but we didn't get together for several years.
Really? He also worked as an additional photographer of hair.
Yeah, that's when we got together.
Oh, really? That's when everything happened.
Yeah. I have a lot of fondness for that.
Yeah, and I'd say he's a wonderful director, Richard Pierce.
Yes, he's a really good director, and he's also a really great cinematographer of documentaries. 5 nominated documentaries, 4 won Academy Awards that he shot.
Yeah, putting Woodstock.
Woodstock, in my life, and then a lot of Vietnam.
Yeah.
And Marjo, which is a very interesting film.
I told to him I love a family thing.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing film. But why you never work with him or with your daughter in any project?
Well, my daughter, she became a costume designer after. You know, I had no No, we never worked with. I worked with my husband on one film where we all went to Australia with the kids.
Okay.
I didn't want to work with him, A, because he didn't pay me enough money. And B, because we had kids and I often didn't work when he was working. Because I wanted someone to be there. So it worked out for about 8 years. Where he'd work, I'd work. But then it didn't work.
Do you think that your last film was in 2011, the big release in 2011, and that year you did the TV film with Alicia Keys?
Yeah, that was just a small thing. My brother got sick in New York.
Oh.
And he had cancer, and so I took a year and a half. And by then, my career was over.
But do you consider yourself retired now?
No, I'll never retire. I teach at the American Film Institute.
Yeah.
I've been a governor of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science. And I consult on movies, particularly documentaries.
Yeah, I need this documentary about this guy who was a storyboard.
Oh, am I on that?
As a consultant.
Oh, I love that movie. You guys got to see that movie. It's so interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you appear as a consultant actor.
Yeah, I'm on a lot of movies as a consultant or an editor, lots of things. Yeah. I mean, I've worked on a lot of things where my name isn't on it. And then I left my name on a lot of bad things. So there you go.
And finally, do you think that is there any other project for you, maybe if you're very interested in working with one of the directors that you like, you will accept it, or?
Well, I certainly would work with Danny DeVito or Milos Forman anytime. I'd work again with Jodie Foster, even though I didn't work with her on her last film, but I love her. I'd work with a lot of people, but maybe not as the editor, maybe have my former assistant, who's now the editor, do the cutting as well, because I really like having freedom.
Okay.
I live in Los Angeles, my children are both in New York, my grandchildren are in New York. And here I am. I couldn't do this if I were still working all the time.
Yeah, sure.
I couldn't come here, I couldn't travel. So yeah, I like the freedom that I have right now. And I guess I wouldn't do a home movie.
Thank you very much.